So whether or not I'm like really got addictive personality disorder, I don't know. It's up for debate, I guess. I was never diagnosed with it. I was diagnosed recently with ADHD again, so it's carried with me into adulthood from my childhood. But I mean, I'm like looking at everything that I do, and I feel like I'm not safe from anything. I feel like if I started gambling today, I'd get a gambling addiction. If I feel like I feel like if I started um, doing any illicit drugs, I could get an addiction to those as well. I think I was drawn towards alcohol because, I think there's a genetic component with it, with my dad, you know, and behavioral with my dad. So I don't know. It's kind of defeating, self defeating. It's terrible to think about. It's really depressing to think about. I do go through bouts of depression. I mean, really just clinical. I mean, if you look at the things that are associated with this disorder, it's like, by the book for me. Um, like I'm isolating myself, which is just right in line with it. A lot of these people with addictive personalities will isolate themselves. Their relationships aren't very deep, even though they want them to be. See, I want my relationships to be deep. I like having fewer people with deeper relationships, but the problem is if I get um, if I get close to people that aren't good influences on me, I'm very easy to like be manipulative, or sorry, not manipulative, but manipulated, and I'll try to kind of do a people pleasing thing with them, which is very highly correlated with this type of disorder, with the addictive disorder, personality disorder. You tend to want to fit in the crowd, right? Um, and you'll change your personality or change your different traits based off of that, which I don't like. Like when I'm at a social job, like when I was at the hospital, the psych hospital, I found myself being influenced by lots of people. I'd be very chatty, very social with a lot of people, very superficial, right? I'm pretty good at it. But the problem is that it would influence me. I think I feel like I'd be more depressed when I got home after something like that, you know? Because, I don't know. It's like sometimes you want the isolation and the loneliness. Or maybe for me, I still feel isolated with them, right? I was surrounded by a bunch of people and I still felt isolated, which is an even more terrible feeling than actually being isolated and feeling isolated. And that's why I live in a trailer. A big part of it. I used to have crippling anxiety during my marriage, just doing every day to day thing. Like I would be avoiding that fight that I knew was inevitably going to happen, which is terrible to think, right? On a daily basis. Creates stress, creates anxiety. I was gaining weight in my marriage over those 10 years, and like I would tell myself, it felt like I was walking on eggshells, but not necessarily because, not because of anything that I could blame my ex-wife for. Really, it was this issue, this disorder with me, the ADHD and the addictive personality. I mean, just the anxiety created with those two things combined was just terrible for me, right? Thinking negative thoughts, mostly about myself. But I would think negative thoughts about her, but I would think that it was my fault for every time we fought, right? Which, in a way, I guess it is. Like, I think I was, or I should be to blame, and I owe my ex another apology, one of many. I've apologized for my divorce, but I think I owe her more, right? I can't stop supporting my kids. Me and my ex are nice and friendly to each other now, and which is great. And I just wouldn't have it any other way. It's still hard. All of it. All of it comes back on me every time I drop my kids off, so it's hard to deal with that. I hope I can learn meditation techniques and, because I don't want it to turn into one of those things where in order to deal with life I just sleep as much as possible just to avoid. It's like you get off of alcohol or you get off of eating excessively or anything and you end up just sleeping all the time. You can't. The problem with this disorder is you're always trading one thing for the next. One addictive activity, for the next, and it's just a vicious cycle. So which activities are more harmful to your physical body compared to your mental emotional state? It's just this constant balancing act. But it's all destructive, really. It all feels destructive. And I can only feel for those people that struggle with this every day, like me. I think people talk about it, but I don't think people have access to really good help, People don't go out to addiction places unless they hit rock bottom, And people with these disorders don't do it unless there's something substantial. Like they don't go out for feeling the addictive pull. They don't go to get help because of that. They go help after they become an alcoholic and lose their job, or become a meth addict, or become a heroin addict, Like it's not until they do the hardest, fastest, most depressing thing, or unless they're suicidal and they end their life, which I saw and I have seen a lot in my nursing career and just in the medical field in general. People that get to that end and that's where they go. I never been suicidal. I get depressed. I go through bouts of depression, but I've never had the thought to suicide. I think church has helped me in that sense. I think my religion has helped me in a lot of ways avoid some of these pitfalls. I think if I didn't have it, it was a good structure for me to follow by, to help me stay good and stay alive for 33 years. I don't think people should bash it as much as they do. It can be a real strength for people. A real foothold when all you have is like nothing and you feel nothing, right? So